Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everyone out there today? We are so glad to have you here on Build Your Best Life. I'm Coach Deborah D. Smith, and I have the pleasure of having Minister Carolyn Cuffee on with me today. How are you? And we are going to get started here. But if you could all come in, please like and share. And if you are already not signed up for notifications, if you could sign up for notifications so you will know when we go live, we would appreciate it. But share with family and friends and just get ready to have a marvelous word here. I'm just super excited to have you here today.
This is not me. This is truly the opposite side of where I'm normally sit.
We are just so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, today, Minister Cuffey and our topic is think ahead. You don't position yourself where you constantly must act in a certain situation. You just got to act right then. You need to plan and be ready to tackle whatever comes your way because life happens and you never know what's going to happen. But
Exactly.
being proactive in the small things as well as the large, significant ones can really help you out. That means if you have a printer at home, you don't wait until it says no ink before you try to get ink. You do that ahead of time if you're not on automatic ink. If you look out, it's cloudy and they say it's 70% chance of rain. You don't look out and say, well, the sun's shining now. I'm okay. You grab that umbrella just in case. Right now in Florida, they're telling us that our category 4 hurricane is coming our way. So what does everybody do? They wait until today is supposed to hit tomorrow or Thursday. And so now everybody's out trying to get supplies or whatever. They're not preparing. They didn't stop preparing last week when they were telling us this. And so that's what happens. And then, we get frantic and upset because, we just didn't think ahead and then we get behind.
Exactly.
Yes. But I know Minister Cuffey says that and is it Cuffey?
It's Cuffee. CUFFE.
It's saying that she's not used to being on this side, but I have seen so many things that she's done on the other end. I know she's got to be the bomb. So if you could take time to tell everybody a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Of course, of course. Well, as you said, as Elder said, my name is Minister Carolyn Cuffee. A lot of my friends just call me Carol or Carol Ann. I am a mommy of three adult children. I have two grandchildren, Miley, who is a cheerleader now, and Nicholas, who is a starting player for a high school basketball team. And I will say one of my joys is being a grandmother. I often joke about being a grandparent is like getting a do over from being a parent. um, I am a PK. For those who may not know, I'm sure most of us do. It's a preacher's kid. Shout out to my mommy, Apostle Francis Lightner Peacock. I love you, mommy. I'm head of Family Life Ministries at my church, Jesus Church of Deliverance, here in Chesapeake, Virginia. And it's just that we focus on family, anything to help build the foundation of family. That's what we focus on. I do have, I want to say, career paths or businesses, nonprofit management, which is my joy. In that business, I help nonprofits and foundations get off the ground. Anything from filing their articles to building their board to finding funding. That's what I do. And also, I have God's Girl Designs, which in that business, I do everything from creating flyers, social media posts. Something else I do recently is create programs for anything from funerals to weddings. Um, you name it, I do it when it comes to designs. So pretty much that's who I am. Gotta say this because my brother would kill me. I am on the board of directors of GTL Ministries, under the Bishop and Pastor Karen Lightner, as well as being the executive producer of Love Is It Enough. And I think my plate is overrun. So I'm going to stop talking right about now.
Hey, you didn't realize you were doing all that stuff, huh?
No, but it's a lot when I'm saying it. It's an awful lot to say. I'm like, good grief, is all that me? But yeah.
That's wonderful. And
Thank
your mommy says, I love you too, my Carol.
Oh, thank you. Look, I'm surprised she ain't saying Carol Ann. And my middle name is not Ann. That's just a nickname that has seemed to stick over the years.
All right. Well, thank everyone for tuning in. We have Dan Smith, Mother Frances Peacock, Sister Catherine Trotter, Deacon Henry Holmes, Latanya Smith, Tony Levette, Karen Wright Lightner. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Build Your Best Life, our theme for this year is it's all about actions.
Yeah.
And so I've talked about people and their actions consistently throughout the year. But, it comes down to our actions is just everything that we do, how we do it, when we do it. So this month, we've really been talking about grow opportunities and launch success. And so when I think about thinking ahead, I believe that it is important for us to prepare, but realizing that sometimes we have to adjust and take action. And all of that is essential, especially for our young people. So we need to be proactive rather than reactive, because when we have to be reactive, that's where we seem to get in trouble because, the flesh comes flying up more so. So, Carolyn,
Yes.
what are your thoughts about the importance of being proactive? Do you think it's better to be reactive?
Well, I'll say this before anything, for those who may not understand being what proactive actually means, I want to say that we already know that active means doing something. We do know that right off the bat. And pro means before. So, in order to be proactive, you're preparing yourself to do something before something actually happens. So, let's think about that for a second, which means we're anticipating something happening and we're preparing for it. So, in that aspect, I'll say there are various things I think about, but most importantly, when it comes to being proactive, I think about that shows how successful people can be. If you think about the success rate of those, think about somebody successful. We could think about President Obama. For goodness sakes, we can even think about it, and don't kill me. We can even think about Donald Trump. Those people are successful because they are proactive. And even in that aspect, think about your own life, or think about, yeah, let's look at our own lives for a second. If we're being proactive, that means I have a life insurance policy. I'm not sitting around, oh well, when I die, my family just gonna have to they gonna have to figure it out. That's not being proactive. So that's what I think about when you're saying we're being proactive. You're thinking about something before it actually happens, and you're making and taking action to see that problem through, or see that situation or circumstance through. So using that for example, I'm gonna have to say it's better to be proactive, guys. And anybody out there that knows Carolyn Cuffee knows I'm a very proactive person.
Yes, it's important. I think to be proactive because it's just so much that can happen on a daily basis. And when we get out there and we don't plan and do things, we can get ourselves really tied up in things. But I go back here and back up some so we can laugh a little bit. Let's
Okay.
see. My friend Carol, she says, "Oh, wow. Carol Ann is my name." And then your sister-in-law, Karen. Karen's your sister-in-law, right?
Yes, she is.
All right, she says, that's right, represent GT. was it GT
GTL Ministries.
Ministries, and is love enough. Yeah. She said, "We love you, Curly Sue." She called you Curly Sue.
Oh my God, no, she didn't. She does call me Curly Sue.
Oh, and we're happy to see Virginia Weaver on with us.
That's my bonus mommy.
Okay. And your sister Christine Zone, your other sister, yeah, I already mentioned Catherine.
Yes,
Yeah. And
that's
so we
that's
have
the total right
Carol
over there.
Crockett and Cynthia Ferguson. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Okay. Well, Carolyn, while I was researching this topic, I ran across an article that I sent to you about proactive attitude, because I had never heard that, a proactive attitude. But I mean, so I never thought about it from that perspective. But some of the qualities that it stated that a proactive person is said to be is like self confident,
Hmm.
thinking beyond short term,
Hmm.
and attributes such as that. Now, were you aware of these characteristics? And also, what are your thoughts on how these different personality traits relate to being proactive?
Well, I can honestly say until I read the article, uh, I was aware of a few of them, but only in the aspect of thinking about myself. It's like, okay, that fits me. Until until I actually read the article, I didn't know there were so many. There are actually 14 according to this article, and
Mhm.
some of those are like to me no brainers. Like being an active person is considered a trait of someone that's proactive. So to me, that one was a no-brainer. And being creative is like a no-brainer because most proactive people, they're creative, they're thinking outside the box, and they're active, which means they got to be doing something and they love to stay organized. But as far as describing a proactive person in the article, the 14 characteristics just from reading, they actually said at the end of that article, you would have to be superhuman to have all 14 of these attributes. So I
Mhm.
laughed about that because I'm thinking, okay, I know I don't possess all 14, and I can't think of any off the top of my head who would. But to take to take all of this seriously, these traits are very important when you're trying to be proactive in life or lead a proactive life because they set the standard for being productive, for being valued, and most importantly, being resourceful. We want to be resourceful people, which means we're not letting anything hold us back. We're going to figure it out. We're going to use our resources and we're going to figure some stuff out. So we're not the type, being proactive, you're not the type to sit back and complain. You're going to jump right in there and figure it out and, make it work with what you have. And I look at being valued is definitely one of the traits of being proactive, which means when you have that value, you are self confident, you're social, and you're disciplined. You're, say that again, you're social, you're disciplined, you're self confident. And these traits are very, very, very valuable when it comes to, if you think about it, if you're looking for a job, if you're studying if you're a teacher or you're a student, or even if you're in ministry or any of those areas, those things are very important. You want to have that value. And I'm going to say that again because that value says that you're social, you're disciplined, and you're self confident. So, those traits right there, I feel are some of the very most important traits to have when it comes to being proactive. Now, let's look at another side of that to think outside of the box. Some of those traits say that you're creative. Creative people, they're focused, but they're also persuasive and they don't easily give up. Because if you're creative, okay, you're going to find a way to make it work. Your creativity is going to kick in. And you're like, you know what? It may not work this way, but I can figure it out. Oh, let me call so and so because I remember they know how to do this, that, and that. You're going to figure it out. That's being creative. So a lot of those traits are very important to have when being proactive. But again, unless you're superhuman, you're not going to have all of them. But can we strive to make the best out of those 14 traits and find ourselves in there and try to, enhance those traits within ourselves? Yes, we can do that. Yes, it's important to do that. I'm not the type to sit back and say, the reactive person. I'm just gonna sit back and wait and see what happened. I ain't doing nothing. That's not, we shouldn't be like that. But I do know a couple of people who
All
are
right.
like,
Yes. Yes, that is right. That is a great explanation of those personality traits.
it's
Uh,
those traits, elder. Those traits really took me by surprise. Some of them, and we should encourage people to go read that article for themselves because they will find themselves in that article most definitely.
yeah, I have to go behind the scenes and put it in the chat so they can read it. But it was very interesting.
It was. It was.
Yeah. And see, Catherine says, yes, being proactive is planning ahead for the future as well as the unexpected. And she is a proactive person as well. And as you were talking and you mentioned the word value or valuable, I thought about, I believe it was last Tuesday when you sent me the link when you interviewed Bishop and First Lady Lightner,
Okay.
and they were giving you all these accolades and how helpful you are to them in the ministry. So it really uh, came to light, that you have to be a proactive person based on what they were saying, and how you make the ministry flow and how helpful you are to them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. All right, and we have some more people that's joined us. Hello, Agnes, and I'm just gonna say Miss McCoy Winston. I don't want to mess up your first name.
Lady Jeanette Winston. Is that Lady?
Okay.
I'm sure it is.
Thank you. But often when people are not proactive, they miss deadlines, they miss school assignments, they're late going here, then they miss the first appointment. Oh, I have first appointment to see the doctor, but you 30 minutes late, so you put the doctor and everybody else behind,
Mhm.
and then you become anxious. So why do you think that some people are, oh, some people are just like that, but why are they, in your opinion, okay with the outcomes that come from them having poor planning or not just planning at all?
Elder, I've listened to people say I do too much, talking about myself personally, and I'm in my head. I'm thinking, okay, well, I feel like you ain't doing enough. Well, but I say this because the people I know that are poor at planning or just, they sit back and wait till the last minute, they're honestly, they're the more laid back people. They tend to take life as it comes. They prefer the challenge of dealing with things as they arrive. That's just not who I can be. That's not who I am. But these people, they're more laid back, and they don't mind waiting to the last minute to do stuff. I just can't work under that kind of pressure. But that pressure to me has a stumbling block. It creates a stumbling block because you can't wait to the last minute to do something or have that poor planning, as you said. And at the same time, you've made room for things that may come up or arise because you haven't left that gap there to cover something that may happen. Take for instance a student who waits to the last minute to write their paper. And I've raised I've raised a few college students, and I had one in particular. I write better. I think better. I do better when under pressure. And I'm like, okay, if you say so, you know. But
Right.
what happens if that computer suddenly crashes? You haven't planned ahead, so you don't have your stuff backed up because you waited to the last minute. So at the last minute, you sitting there typing, and your brain is flowing, your words are coming, but bam, the computer shuts down, and you left with nothing. That comes from poor planning and being reactive instead of proactive. Which to me, there is a little bit of irresponsibility in there because you're not planning ahead. And I know that in order to fix that, we have to be proactive. We can't sit back and say, "Girl, I cross that bridge when I get to it. I ain't worried about that. I cross that." We gotta think better than that. Planning. I'll say this: planning puts you in the position to respond and adapt because you thought ahead. I gotta say that one again. Planning, being proactive, puts you in the position to respond and adapt because you thought ahead. Y'all go ahead and write that one down. That's free. That's free. That's free.
You got to say that one again, Carolyn.
Say it again. That would be three times, girl. I think I'll say it, but for you, I'm gonna say it again. Planning puts you in the position to respond and adapt because you thought ahead. You allowed the time to think ahead. That's
That's
being
good.
proactive. Thank you.
That's good. But we got to go back up here and make fun because somebody talking about we were talking about them. I don't think we were talking about them, but you know.
I can tell you who said it. I can
You guess who it is?
already know who it is. I know exactly who it is. Initials are LW.
Yeah, that's who it is.
I
Why
know.
we talking about her?
That's my best friend, but Lord knows.
All right, and then Catherine says, proactive people see smoke and put it out. They do not watch smoke turn into a fire. Oh,
Oh,
that's my
I like
sister
that.
Trump. Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, and Latanya says she can't work under that pressure. And then Mama says, I hate procrastination. I like planning ahead. Yes,
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 that's me.
yes. And I started to call her sissy. I don't know why. But Christine says, I teach my kids that poor planning on your part doesn't make it an emergency on mine. I love that one.
Like that. Yes.
But that's what normally happens. Somebody doesn't do something like you say, you wait to the last minute to do your paper. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. And then something happens to the computer, or you run out of ink and it says, Mommy.
Yep.
Oh, no, mommy, nothing.
I'm not a musician. Musician.
You are out of it. Oh, let's see. Uh, Planning puts you in a position to respond and adapt because you thought ahead. That's
Yes.
right. And that's
Yes.
per Carol Ann.
Who
Let's
was
see,
that? My
we have
mama.
one more.
Oh,
Said
that's
I work better under pressure.
who said
I
that.
wrote some great papers the night before. All right, girl, you do
That's
it.
that's Miss Winston, isn't it?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I know I have been to church on a Sunday night and heard somebody say, "Oh, I got to go home and write a paper." I said, "You got to go home and do what?
Do what?
11:59 is the deadline. How you gonna write a paper that night?" Tell me, oh, you must be one of those that want to make a A or B. Okay, yeah, why I'm paying my money if I don't make a good grade? I don't want to just throw something together.
Right.
Yep. Oh, that's
But
a
you
good
got those people.
conversation.
But on a serious note, you do have those people who think better under pressure. I just personally, I know that's just not who I. It's not for me. I'll say that it's not for me. But
Right.
those people who feel like they work better under pressure and they don't mind waiting till the last minute to write their papers, I'll give them this advice: have a backup plan. Still, you can still be proactive in that as well because you can have something, have your backup plan already in place for what if this computer crashes. Have something else
Right.
already prepared already. You still can plan the what if, as my son says, the what if factor.
Right. Yep, because life happens. You never know. I mean, I was here one night getting ready to start my broadcast. It was the sun was shining. There was no thunder, no lightning, nothing, and all of a sudden the lights went out. It's like okay, and I'm like with my smart self. Oh, I just go get my laptop and go outside. You still don't have any Wi-Fi, dear. So we had to wait. I had to wait an hour to the system went back up, but they got it fixed. But you never know.
You never know. You're right, Elder. You never know.
Yes. So, Miss Carolyn, can you provide us with an example of a situation that happened to you either because you were or were not proactive, and then tell us how that situation would have played out if you had done the opposite, if that makes sense?
Ooh, oh, it makes sense. Wow. And honestly, my most challenging time in life actually comes to mind. Um, I'm what people call a mesh survivor. Mesh, MESH, survivor. Mesh is a man made material used for various medical reasons. And mine was used to hold my bladder in place after a hysterectomy. Well, the mesh that they installed in my body uh, was defective, and I was told it couldn't be removed. Eventually, over time, that mesh started to fall apart, attach itself to other organs in my body, and it left me bedridden. And think about the word mesh. Mesh meaning it meshes with your organs and your body, and it's not made to be removed. Once mesh is put in place in your body, it's there permanently. So think about that for a minute, and then think about mine being defective.
Mm.
My mesh began to fall apart, as I said. And the long story short, I had to be proactive in finding myself some help. Even when doctors said there's nothing they can do, even when the surgeon himself who put it in said there's nothing they can do, I was proactive along with my family, my awesome support system, my family. And together we got proactive and got busy. I mean, writing letters, making phone calls. I've been up and down the East Coast seeing various doctors, spending lots of money. But eventually, after 3 surgeries, I can say that I am mesh free.
Yes. Woo! Yes. Thank you,
I gotta
God.
say, to God be the glory on that note. I gotta say, to God be the glory on that note.
Yes.
Because if I was reactive instead of proactive, I would not be sitting here right now.
Mm.
I can't say, I can't even say I would be still living right now if it wasn't for my family and myself being proactive.
All
So
right.
when you think about a situation like that, hmm, it paid for me to be proactive.
Proactive. Yes.
Proactive. Could you think about if we would have just took what doctors were telling us? It's mesh. It's meshed with your body. It's not made to be removed. I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. If we would have took and just walked away with that, and
Mhm.
and been like, okay, well, this is what life has done to me, so I just got to accept it. That means I have to accept being stuck on opiates the rest of your life. I
All
have to
right.
accept not being able to drive anymore. I have to accept becoming bedridden and have nurses in and out your house. I have to accept the mental challenges that it put upon my life because of the mesh. I would have had to accept all of that and hopefully still had some opportunity at some quality of life. But I chose to be proactive, which made all the difference in the world when it came to my life. And it goes back to even think about in the biblical sense, God can open a door, but it's up to us to walk through it
That's right. That is
because
right.
He gives us free will to make our own decisions. Sometimes those doors are there and we refuse to walk through because we accept what man says
That's right.
and not believing in the higher power that is our God that we serve.
Yes.
Thank you, God. Thank you. I'm sorry.
You go ahead, girl. Whew. Yes.
God be the glory. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. But that just goes to show you that was a major thing. But the same thing could happen in something bigger, something smaller,
Yes.
but you were proactive. And that's one thing that we can do is be proactive and think about things. Think about, well, what will happen if I don't do this or don't do that? Just think about it. You may decide that, hey, waiting is the best way that you want to do it, but at least think about
At least think about it. And Elder, even when you think about we everyday people and their health, we're so quick to take what the doctor says and walk away, or even the fact that, the doctor diminishes what we're saying. They diminish our symptoms or diminish even listening and hearing us, and we walk away feeling defeated. But you take that defeat and turn it around and make it proactive and keep going until you find someone who's willing to listen to what you're saying, because nobody knows your body better than you do.
That's right.
And being proactive means I'm not listening. No, I know without a shadow of a doubt something is wrong. And if this doctor isn't listening, let me find another one who will.
That's right. You got that one. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for that. That was a marvelous response. We thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Hmm. Okay. Please, can you please provide us some tips on how students can prepare better to avoid the repercussions of having to react to a situation based on not planning? I know this is it's essential for everybody, but I
Yes,
think about our students as they go off to college, they go for those first jobs or whatever.
yes, ma'am. I thought about this question, and I was thinking, I'm like, she should have asked my sister that. She's an educator. But then I thought about, I said, okay, with all the teenagers and young adults that have ran through my life and are still in my life, and even thinking about the young adults in the church, from my perspective of having these conversations with young people and being a mentor myself, and thinking about the church circle, or the circle of the church family, I came up with 6 main things that students can do, and not even just young students, but we as adults, because it's some adult students out here that are
Mhm.
still pursuing their dreams and goals, and we can take a look at, well, we can't take a look at them, but we can talk about them. And one of the things I say is have a study partner. That's one of the first things that I remember, even when I was in school, having a study partner, someone to, I'll say, not just study with, but you push one another. You play off of one another. You keep each other motivated to keep going. Even when you got that paper to write, your study partner is going to be like, girl, you don't have time for no nap. You need to get up and get that paper written. And that's what study, having that study buddy or study partner, whatever you want to call them, does. They're not just studying with you; they're helping keep you motivated, and vice versa, because you're there to do the exact same thing, keep them motivated. I'm sure, all of us know someone who's been like, oh, I'm about to quit. I can't take this class, or I'm about to quit. I can't do college anymore. Oh, I hate high school. Whatever the case is, somebody was in your ear encouraging you. It took that right person to say, you got this. Keep going. It ain't no time to give up, girl. It ain't no time to give up, man. You got this. And we all need that, if it's just one person, to keep us on the right track and in line to meet our dreams and our goals, because we can't get there by ourselves. Our bishop preached that message. We're not doing this by ourselves. It takes a village, and sometimes that village is there even when you dislike them. You're not going to like your village all the time, but you need that village. And
Yes.
a second thing is plan ahead. There's that word again for being proactive. Yes, you're going to plan ahead, which means you're going to have a daily schedule. And they have all these apps now, apps that they didn't have when I was younger. We ain't talking about how old I am, but we didn't have those apps. There are so many apps now that can help you stay organized, and they call them digital planners and stuff like that. Get you one of those apps and download it on your phone, and it helps you stay organized. And it helps you also to save and back up files that you may have. They have apps for everything now. So get you one of those apps to help you stay organized. Now, the third thing I'm thinking about, ask for help when you need it. And I'm saying that because I'm remembering something my sister Christine Rick Stringfield, who's up here, Stringfield Ricks, who's up here right now, said, don't be afraid to ask for help. A lot of times that's something that we feel intimidated about. We don't want to look ignorant. We don't want to look stupid, whatever the case is. But don't be afraid to ask for help. Talk to those teachers, your counselors, the advising services department in your area, whomever it is. It could be your minister or pastor. It could be somebody, it could even be a sibling. But don't be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help could be with a paper. Asking for help could be, I don't know what class to take, or I don't even know how to apply for financial aid. Asking for help could be, I'm struggling, or I'm dealing with something mentally challenging. I don't know if school is for me. Whatever the case is, when it comes to being a student and being proactive, do not be afraid to ask for that help. Now, the next one is for our high school kids, and it's something called the PSAT. Now, if you're going to be proactive and you know you want to go to college, the PSAT will help prepare you for the SAT. Now, a lot of kids look at it and say, well, I didn't do well. I didn't do good. I don't think I can go to college. Not realizing that that PSAT is there to help prepare you and show you what areas you're weak in and where you need to study in order to be ready to take the SAT to move on to the college level. So don't be afraid to, don't find it so challenging and discouraging if you don't do well on the PSAT. No, it's a helping tool, a stepping stone to help you prepare for that SAT. Now, this one, none of us really gonna like. Don't procrastinate. You cannot be a procrastinator when it comes to being a student. Those that homework, those papers, those projects, get them done in a timely manner to avoid unnecessary stress and anxiety. Because if you're working on that project and you go to pick it up and move it to another section of the house and it falls apart the night because you worked on it the night before and your glue was look, your glue was jacked up. You messed up because you waited till the last minute. So not procrastinating will help you. So if you worked on that project a couple of days or a week ahead of time and you go to move it to another side of the house and it falls apart, oh, you still upset? But you still got time to go out and get that good expensive Elmer's glue to fix it, to go ahead and work on it some more. Now, the sixth thing and last, do your part in avoiding situations that could put you in compromising positions. And I'm saying that to our high school and college students. Do your part to avoid putting yourself in compromising situations. And I say that this is an example. You're riding it, you decide to go to this party, and you know that person doesn't have a driver's license, and you know this person likes to drink. Why are you getting in that car? Why are you putting yourself in that compromising situation? If you're going to be proactive about it, you're either going to stay home, convince them that's the wrong thing to do, and even maybe even convince your friends, look, we shouldn't be going with them because either one, they don't have no license, or we know they like to drink. And other compromising positions that we put ourselves into is, we know sexual harassment is real. It's very real. We know that date rape is very real. So a lot of times when we put ourselves in those situations, and no exactly means that. No means no. But sometimes people on the other side of that no, they don't hear it. But if we make sure that we aren't putting ourselves in those situations, sometimes it lessens the opportunity for those things to arise. So I would say, Elder, those are my six takeaways when it comes to helping students be proactive.
Well, those are six awesome tips. And I really hope that everybody's gonna that knows someone that they can share this video with, because I know this can help so many people out there. So, we had the same question for professionals. Do you have different tips, or would they be the same?
Well, there are a few different tips. One of them being, when it comes to being in the workplace, you want to be approachable, because you can be the uppity. We got those uppity people that they're not approachable. You can't be the person that says, I'm just here to do my job and I'm going home. or I don't have time for this foolery and this drama, so I'm just going to stay to myself. Proactive people are team players, which means they get along with others and they're willing to work with others. And those others, your coworkers, they don't mind coming to you because you're approachable. So you want to be approachable. And in the second one, in the business world, it's easy for things to get misconstrued. So this is something that our mom has always told us and has drilled in us, and it has stuck probably much with everybody in our family. Anytime you're on an important phone call, a heated conversation, or somebody has made last minute changes to a contract, you follow it up with an email which says, per our conversation, this is what I'm understanding, because you're covering yourself and you're covering that person that was on the other end of that phone call or on the across the room for you in this meeting. Per our conversation, this is what I'm understanding. So these are two things that can definitely help you be proactive. And another one that I'll say is we make the mistake from time to we all make mistakes from time to time, and no one's perfect, so that happens. But in a workplace, you don't want to be the person that makes the mistake and sits back and says, well, I'm just gonna wait and see what happened. I ain't owning up to nothing. That's not helping you, because at the end of the day, somebody's gonna rat you out. Be that, take that proactive stance and go be honest and rectify it. If it's rectifiable, rectify it. Admit your error, admit your mistake, rectify it, apologize, and you come out looking like the bigger person, more so than sitting back waiting for the ball to drop. Because that's not gonna help you in the end. Or as you know, some people in the back in the days like, dog, that ain't helping you one bit.
Yes, that is good. I love number two though. I'll call it covering my behind.
And you
And
know
you know
something
you
else,
have to do that.
right? And something else other that I think about is when we're in the workplace and we want to be, we call ourselves wanting to get ahead or we looking for that promotion. We have to also be proactive in that aspect, which means, you know, you may have to sometimes do a job that's not even yours, you know, but it also sheds a light on you that, wow, this person, Carol's a team player and she doesn't mind pitching in where she's needed, you know, or even saying, I'm going back to school and take this class, you know, to help me get better at whatever the job is. Or I'm going to go in the background and try and just learn some new stuff because it may not be this job. I may be trying to get a better job or seek something else career wise. So, either way, you want to be proactive in doing so. You can't be the person that sits back and says, I hate my job. I hate going to work. But you're not doing anything to change that. And in today's society, when it comes to these young people, my young people in my family tell us often, they'll say, you can learn anything you want on YouTube University. And it took me a minute to understand YouTube University. And then when I got it, I laughed because they're right. You can find about anything you want to know about on YouTube University. If you want to know how to dissect a remote control, take it apart and put it back together, YouTube University will show you exactly how to do that. So, what I'm saying is, if you're not happy in your career, or you're just trying to get that promotion or get that next step up, be proactive in doing so. Nobody's just going to come lay it in your lap. You got to do your part.
That is so true. You sound like you were on when I did the broadcast on opportunities. You know, people are so quick to say, well, nobody, I never get any opportunities. Nobody ever promotes me. They don't even offer me jobs. Nobody's going to give you anything. You know, some of us really have to work harder than other people for things. But Christine mentioned it, that lifelong learning. It is you're giving yourself an opportunity when you go out and develop your skills, the ones that you already have, make them better. You know, like YouTube University, things are constantly changing and improving. You got to keep up with it. You can be ace boo, what they used to say, ace boo cool. You just knew everything about something, but things are changing so fast. You have to keep up with those changes if you want to be relevant. So
That's
that's how you get the opportunities. You make yourself so good that they can't turn you down. This is what you say you need. I got it. But nobody's going to give you a job if they're asking for A, B, and C and you don't have it. You just applying for a job,
that's true.
So I love that. Great, great, great conversation. And thank everybody for being so engaging. And this is the kind of talk I love when everybody gets into the conversation.
Awesome.
This is great. So, as we prepare to close, can you please give us your final thoughts on how thinking ahead can assist people in building their best lives?
Well, Elder, I'll say this. Since the beginning of time, we have all had the blueprint for leading proactive lives. Since the beginning of time. And it starts, if you go back and think about Adam and Eve and skip ahead a little bit to Moses, when God gave him the Ten Commandments, that was our blueprint for that time, for Old Testament. And then we thought about, hmm, we think about Jesus on the cross, right? Okay. Jesus says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Even in his hurt, anguish, pain, everything they had done to him prior to him being on that cross, even on the cross with the nails in his hands and his feet, he still thought about us. Jesus was being proactive for us. Think about that.
Mm.
So, we as Christians, if we think ahead when it comes to our salvation, we think ahead. We think we want to go to heaven. We think in our head, I don't want to die and go to hell. I want to go to heaven. So we are being proactive right now in order to make it to heaven. Why aren't we being proactive when it comes to our earthly life? We do ourselves a disservice for having poor planning. We can strive to be proactive by taking the approach in our everyday life of doing better. Asking ourselves, is there something I can do today to be proactive? Honestly, the answer is going to always be yes. Think about it. Is there something I can do today to be proactive in my life? Yes, yes. If it just means wash the clothes, yes. If it just means I'm going outside today and I'm going to make a new friend, I'm going outside, I'm going to encourage someone else. Or when I get to work today, I'm going to speak to the person who has been avoiding me purposely because they may think I'm not approachable. So there are a whole list of things we can do. We can go out and be witnesses for other people. No matter what it is, being proactive, we have to always ask ourselves, what can I do today to be proactive in my own life? Because is it necessary? Yes, it's necessary. There's an author, Stephen Covey. I always get his name right. Stephen Covey. He wrote the book Seven Habits to Highly Effective People. There are seven habits that highly effective people have. He says this: your behavior is a function of your decision, not your circumstance. I'm going to say that again. Your behavior is a function of your decisions, not your circumstance. So, proactive meaning in making a decision to do something, making a decision to do something. Or I'm going to be reactive and I'm just going to make excuses for the condition or the circumstance that I'm in. It's our choice. So, stealing from Elder, if you want to build your best life, my best advice is let's get up and be proactive. That's what I
All right, stand up and be proactive.
let's be proactive.
That is awesome. And we can all do that. Everybody.
Yes, we can. And we can do that, Elder, in baby steps. You don't got to go full force all in at one time. Some of us got to crawl into some stuff, and then we're going to go from crawling to walking, and we're gonna run with it.
That's right. I was trying to, I swept myself off the screen. I was trying to get the article and I had swept myself off the screen. But that is the article that we were talking about earlier about the positive, proactive attributes.
Right, right.
Yeah. So if anybody is interested in reading that article, that is the path for that.
Right. Again, it's a great article because it gives you 14 attributes of being proactive. And we can all find ourselves at least in, if not one, if not 14, and nobody's superhuman, so you're not going to see yourself in all 14, okay? But find yourself in there and take that and start to build on it.
That's right. Yep. We had some great comments out here. Oh, my big sister Carol Ann is awesome. If you guys only knew her full story, she talked about the mesh and it did almost take her out, but God. Yes. And then Christine, the answer to life's questions have always been there. It's in the word and in God's promises. We have to do our part. Amen. Yes, that is awesome. Yes, so thank you so much, and I hope y'all got the link to that article because it is very, very interesting. But I thank you all so much for tuning in today. And I don't know who told you you're just used to being behind the scene, girls. You better come from back there.
I am. I'm a behind the scenes girl.
Oh, well, I can't tell. I can't tell.
Yeah.
Yes.
And neither can the people I work with, okay?
All right, y'all let off from back there. She is awesome, awesome, awesome. Great conversation. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then anything else you want to tell anybody about how to reach your church or anything of the programs that y'all have?
Yes, ma'am. When it comes to GTL ministry and love, is it enough? Oh, we actually are on tonight. Yes, Love Is It Enough airs every Tuesday. Yes, every Tuesday. And you can go to ywtv7.org/love is it enough and watch our episodes. Every week you will find Bishop Gregory Lightner and Pastor Karen Lightner and myself giving you words of encouragement from anything dealing with relationships, marriage, siblings, whatever it is when it comes to family and love, we are your go to people. And if you would like to reach us, you can go to gtlm.isloveenough@gmail.com because we are always looking for new guests and we would love to interview you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Elder. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
you're welcome. Thank you so much. Okay, is there anybody I'm missing from the family? Now I had Catherine and Christine and Bishop and yourself. Am I missing anybody?
I think my
What
baby
about Karen?
I think my baby girl Jasmine might have been on as well.
Who
And
is that?
my daughter Jasmine, Miley's actually her daughter is actually a cheerleader, so she had a game tonight. But I know she was supposed. My niece, well, my sister said she hopped on for a few minutes.
Okay,
She might
great
be gone
stuff.
now. And Elder, if anyone would like to reach me, you can just reach me at. It's very simple. My name, Carol Cuffee, at AOL. That simple. CarolCuffee at AOL.com. And people say AOL still exists. Yes, it does. And I use it faithfully. I use it faithfully.
Yes,
Faithfully.
and it works.
Yes, it does. If you need help with nonprofit or you're interested in any type of design, I am your builder. And I also speak in ministry, of course.
Okay, what Miss Catherine
Working on
says, we need to have the Smiths and the Levettes on. Yeah, that would be neat. I love the Levettes. All right. I hear you, Catherine. All right. Well, thank you so much. Please join us on Thursday. We'll be talking about finding Meno. Finding Meno, Meno. Ah, what am I talking about? You got to come back to find out. That will be Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we would love to have you back here. Please visit my website at www.buildyourbestlife.org. It's www.buildyourbestlife.org. So you can read my blog, see my calendar of events, my services that I offer, which is coaching, consultations, speaking, webinar speaking, and you can get an autographed copy of my book, Build Your Best Life. My platform is about assisting young men, teens, and young adults in overcoming obstacles to build their best lives. And so my book has those same basic principles. So it helps our young people as well as, I'll call it, their community. So parents, educators, ministers, everyone. And so if you go out there, you can get an autographed copy of the book. And if you like the Kindle version, you can go on Amazon.com to get your Kindle version. But again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And thank you so much, Minister Cuffee. I appreciate it. Love you all.
Thank you for having me, Elder. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Y'all remember that as you go on your way to being a better you, there will be distractions, rough terrain, and detours. Don't let any of those negative aspects of your journey stop you. Though they may slow you down, keep going to be a better you so that you can build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be safe. Take care. And I'm looking for you Thursday. Bye bye.
I can relax, Elder. Okay, how you swerve?